What is good, gang? I'm Theo Kane and welcome back to Slimehouse TV. So in today's episode, I'm going to give you an update on how we've been getting on with the brand new Slimehouse studio / toy factory that I've been building right here in my back garden. And I said brand new, but at this point we've been building this thing for like 7 months. It's absolutely flown by and it's been crazy, but we're very nearly at a point now where it's finished and I can start actually working in here full time. So as I said in this episode, I'm going to let you know how we've been getting on in here because I've made a lot of progress since I last caught up with you. I'm also going to show you some of the pickups that I've picked up over the last few weeks because I've been to lots of events and I've still not shown a lot of the stuff that I picked up on camera yet. And then I'm also going to let you know about something that happened to me, a toy haul that I came across while I was working in here, just completely out of the blue, that turned out to be the best toy find that I've had in over a decade. So yeah, lots to get through in today's episode. It's going to be a bit of a movie, but as always, if that sounds like a bit of you, sit back, make sure you're comfy and get yourself strapped in for a brand new episode of Slimehouse TV. Let's do this. In Wakes. So before we get into the vintage toy haul, I'm going to give you an update on how we've been getting on in the studio. So at this point, we just got back from Salute down in London, and because Dave had been my cameraman and my driver that weekend and was in Sheffield, and also because he's much better at DIY than I am, we decided to use the Sunday as a bit of a snagless day and just get a bunch of little jobs done that I've been meaning to get to, starting off by adding some final finishing touches to the studio's 3D printing area. So I've been talking about getting some kind of upstand fitted here for a while now. It's basically just so that this area is all enclosed around the back and the sides, so that if I ever spill any resin or IPA or a can of Monster, which I 100% will, I can clear it all up and wipe right up to the border without affecting the surrounding walls. It also makes it look nice and neat and all finished off, and something that once it's done I can put all the 3D printers back and can just tick that entire area off as finished. Because we were planning on drilling into the walls as well that day, Dave also masked off the area so that no dust fell into the cracks because that was all going to get siliconed later, and once that was done it was on to fitting the door handles on the cupboards, which I'd had ready for ages, so it was good to now be able to finally get them attached so that I could open and close my cupboards properly. Because yeah, it's weird, you never really think how hard it is to open a flat surfaced cupboard until you try and do it with one that doesn't have a handle on. Is that his Red Bull? Right, give him a good Dave. Let's try him. Look at that, perfect, and they go back, they don't catch.
There we go, look at that.
Nice, look at that. It's like a mimic chest. So the next job for us to tackle was starting something that I've talked about many times again in these videos, and that's building some kind of spray booth / messy area, just in that little back bit where the storage racking is. And this was a very simple structure, just made out of some scrap wood and perspex that me and my dad had got left over from other jobs. This will also be the place where I can keep all of my paints and glues and spray cans, stuff that I use all the time and always need to hand but don't necessarily need to be displayed front and centre in the main work area. So many times I've spoke about on these videos that I want to turn this area here into like a spray booth area, so today that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be starting the spray booth, I can't wait. Let's see how we get on. Now with this being an area that I'm potentially going to be doing a lot of airbrushing and sanding and Dremel work and that kind of thing, it's also a place that's going to need some kind of extractor fitting as well. But that's all stuff that we'll sort later. Right now it was just all about getting the workbench area built, so that's what we was concentrating on. Yee-hoo! Oi Dave, look at that. Proper little workbench.
There we go.
Beautiful. So we made what I had in mind and actually knocked it together pretty quick and easy. So with us still having plenty of day left and also lots of scrap wood, we decided to also add a bit of shelving to the booth as well for a bit of extra storage and stuff. And by the time that we'd finished, we ended up with something that was pretty perfect for what I needed. Well, almost perfect. We had to do a little bit of rejigging after because it wasn't quite straight. We sorted it off camera, but you know what I mean. Oh, look at that. Lovely. We'll get a sand, it's got a bit of mildew on it, but yeah, that's a nice little area. Look at that. Bit of spraying, bit of dirty work. It's on piss, but it don't matter.
It's alright, the cans just roll down one end.
No, it's because thing is not right. Look at the bars.
Oh yeah.
It's off.
What's that?
So once that was all done, there was just a few more little tinkery jobs that needed finishing, including getting this new FDM 3D printed modular tool rack up, which I'll talk about a little bit later.
As you can see, it's
a bit floppy. Dave knows all about that. And then finally, finish off sealing up all the rest of the upstand with some black silicone.
I tried not to stick it on too much, but I think where I've smeared it on.
What's good, slime gang? So I don't know where this will take place chronologically in the order of the video or anything like that, but as of right now, as of me currently in the real world, I just got back from Salute down at the Excel Centre in London. It was a couple of days ago. I dropped the video on it last night, and this is the first day that I'm back in the studio after like editing that and doing a load of stuff. What I would normally do is do an event and then start editing it the next day. But what I had to do this time, because Dave was here, is I had to have a whole day where I didn't do any editing, and then we worked in the studio. And as you will have just seen, we worked really hard and we got lots done. I'm gonna show you some of the stuff that we did now. But this place is an absolute mess. So I'm gonna have a quick tidy up before I do any of that, and then I'll show you all the little things that we did, all the little bits and all the new additions to the studio, because yeah, they're really awesome. So you will have seen in that footage before that when Dave were doing the silicone round here, which was very, very slickly done, by the way, did a fantastic job. The tape pulled off a bit of the paint around the edges, so before I put any of the 3D printers on or the vinyl player or anything that goes on here temporarily or for the duration of me using it, I need to paint these. And because he's already done the silicone, I don't want to go in with a big brush and mess it up. So I'm going to go in with a little tiny brush, or not really tiny, but tiny in terms of painting walls. I'm going to touch this up with a bit of grey, a bit of blue there, and just go around the edge. And then, yeah, we can get the vinyl player back and all the 3D printers and get this place tidied up, get this area tidied up, because this is an area that needs to be kept clean and tidy, and it's got a lot of expensive equipment on it now, courtesy of Elegoo. Shouts to Elegoo once again. And I know that looks like a much lighter colour, but it actually dries bang on the same colour as the wall, because I painted a little bit of this up before we put this upstand on, but thanks to Dave Blade's super grip frog tape, took it off. Still got into it, look. Perfect. Just blend that in like that. And just give it a little roll just to smooth out the brush strokes so that it matches the rest of the wall. So as you can see, this poster's moved from that wall. This poster was on that wall, and the one that's on that wall I wanted to have here. The Evil Dead 2 poster that I've had like ready for ages, I put into a frame that I had knocking about that you might have seen in one of my previous videos. It was like a big New York City skyline. And I just had it in a frame, and it was like a massive thing, and I thought, oh yeah, that'll be good to put my Evil Dead in. Well, it was a bit too big, so I put a border in it and stuff about that thick all the way around, and it looked really nice, but it was too big to fit in here. It was touching the ceiling, touching the plugs, so I've put that there temporarily until I get a frame that's the exact size, and I'm gonna keep Bronx Warriors there for now. I've also got this, move this forward so you can see. So this is a cool modular tool rack that you can download the STL for free. This was all printed on a filament printer. I don't have my own filament printer, but I do have access to one. So it would be nice to get one in the future, but currently all the 3D printers I've got at the minute are resin printers for doing like statues and high detail and stuff. Filament printers are much better for doing like big things, doing like practical stuff or building helmets and armor and that sort of thing. So that's what this has been printed on. And this has got loads of things that click on it. Let me get them. So I've got like just some generic little crates like that are gonna go on. I've also got something that you have your Dremel attached, so you can have your Dremel in there and have the wire around that like a spool and things. I've got some for the God Hand snippers that we got given the other day by Rubicon. So yeah, shouts to Rubicon for sending us them. So that'll go in there like that. and then I can have my snippers in it. And just have all the tools that we use for the 3D printer to hand, because obviously this is gonna be the 3D printing area. So that's gonna be cool. That was something that I wanted to get up for ages, so shouts to Dave Blade for helping me stick that up nice and level, because I'd have probably messed it up. So now that that's all done and this upstand is in there, the racking's on the wall, the picture's there, the only thing I've got to wait for in this area is the lights, and they're not going to be going in for a couple of weeks. So for now I can get all this area cleared and get all the 3D printers back where they need to be. So as I said earlier, we was at Salute this weekend. It was awesome, and at the minute it's like a really busy time between events. We had the NEC Toy Fair, then it was Salute, so at the minute we're right in the middle point of the big 4 events that I'm covering over the next few weeks. In a week's time we've got ToyCon down in London, and then 2 weeks after that it's HorrorCon UK, and then I'm done pretty much for the rest of the year. There's little bits like dotted here and there, but like any big massive events that I've got to cover like that aren't until later on in the year, which means I can fully concentrate on toy making and finishing my movie that I keep talking about. But what I wanted to do right now, completely different to that, is I want to show you some of the stuff that I picked up at those last 2 events. So first of all, this is what I got at the NEC. Someone asked about this and said that they wanted to see it in a bit better detail. So this is a Jushin Liger Dragon King Dragon Form figure, and it's like a Gunpla kit. I got this from Flash at the NEC. One of their last stalls that you see when you go in the NEC is always right at the back, and he always has dope model kits. Inside, all never opened, really, really cool. What I really liked about this as well, completely like, besides the fact that it's all in its bag and it's all complete, is that it came with cool little stickers. Check that. Cool little stickers. You know I'm a sucker for a sticker. I will never stick these on anything, but they're really dope little chibi artwork. And I'm not usually into chibi when it's like super cute and super simplified, but I like this. This has got really good detail on it, so they're cool. And yeah, it comes with all the paperwork and that, which I always like with these old model kits. So yeah, man, look at that artwork. Straight fire. So yeah, that's really cool, all there in its bags. So to anybody that was asking, this is a Jushin Liger Dragon King in dragon form, from the anime of the same name, Jushin Liger. But it were like 20 quid, man, 20 quid for that dope artwork. With all of the stuff inside, we'll make a real nice build as well at some point. We're gonna build that. I never mind opening and building vintage kits, that's what they're made for. I mean, you could say that about toys, like toys are made for playing with, but we're not gonna get into that right now. So this is some of the cool stuff that I got at Salute. I'm gonna start off with the miniatures. So I got these from Crooked Dice Studio. I got Deadite Hunter and Narmvet, which is obviously John Rambo and Ash from Evil Dead, but due to copyright reasons, they've had to change the name. And I don't know whether these are 3D sculpted or hand sculpted or anything like that. They look hand sculpted to me and they look super authentic. They're not made from lead, they're made from white metal. You could read this information and it'd probably tell you a little bit about it. But really like what these guys are doing. Definitely going to get some more of these in the future. So they're awesome. They were 2 really nice pickups. This was a little Orc that I got from Oakbound Studios. I can get this out of the bag as well because it's not sealed in the plastic like them ones. Don't know what this is from or anything like that. I don't know if it's from like a storyline that they've got going on with their miniatures, or if it's just a cool Orc goblin kind of dude that you can use for your armies. But I just really liked it. And I've got so much old hammer in storage, and I've got so many goblins and Orcs that I kind of feel that, yeah, I could probably put together an old hammer, old world army of Orcs, an old hammer, old world army of skeletons, and also one of Orcs at some point. So that may be a nice little project for the future. So really happy with him. These were also really cool. I got these from Ian at Fenris Games. He was telling me about the guy that sculpted these. I can't remember his name, but he's one of the original Warhammer sculptors. So he created these. And these are 3 pig Orc scouts. And out of all of the figures that he had on these racks, for some reason, these stood out to me. And looking back on retrospect, whatever, I think it's because they reminded me of the pig guy from Deathstalker. You know Deathstalker 1 and 2, the old VHS Sword and Sandal, Sword and Sorcery Conan rip-off movies. Well, they have like an Orc pigman in that, and I think that's what I liked about these and why they reminded me of it, and why I went for these out of all of the other stuff. But these were £15 for 3 figures, which I thought was awesome. A £5 a figure. These were also a £5 each, which is, again, I think awesome. Compared to like Games Workshop prices and stuff, these are a steal. So again, really liked that these felt hand sculpted. These are definitely hand sculpted because he said that, but they felt very old school, made in that metal that feels like lead, that white metal. So these were a definitive purchase. Very happy with the fact that I picked these up, and I'll definitely look forward to buying more from Fenris Games in the future. I can't wait to the next Wargaming event. I'm going to buy so many of these cool minis. Don't know when I'll paint them, but I will definitely be picking them up. This is the little pirate mini that you get when you go to Salute and you get your bag when you first walk in. You get a little mini in there every year. And this is the first time that I went, the first year, and I got a little pirate chick. So she's cool, because who doesn't like pirate girls? Who doesn't just like pirates? I want to be a pirate. This was from Diode Miniatures. It's like a little snake woman. At the time, I thought it was a snake guy. I said in the video, oh, let me get the snake guy. But after looking at it closer, I mean, you can't judge, it's 2024, but after looking at it closer, she's got big boobs with like nipple tassels on and stuff. So I'm gonna say that it's a chick, but I thought it was a guy when I bought it. I didn't look close enough, but that's fine. I think this is awesome. So that's another figure that's gonna look really nice glued together and painted up. And I really wanted these like little space lizard men that they had. There was like 5 or 6 in the set. It was like 25 quid for the whole set, but they'd sold all of them but one. So I'm gonna pick them up next time. But I was feeling on a very much a reptilian vibe. So I went for the snake person instead. The snake person, we don't know what it is, guy or girl. Either way, it's awesome. So that's it for miniatures. I also picked up some brushes and some supplies and that kind of thing. And the coolest thing that I picked up was from Rubicon Models. So I met Pez from Rubicon Models at that event, but he'd watched my channel, he'd watched Bill Making Stuff and that kind of thing. And he gave me, Bill and Dan a goodie bag full of all sorts of awesome stuff. Some cool glues, some cool glues, I sound like such a nerd, but some really cool handy glues that I can use for both plastic and metal and that kind of thing. But the prize piece, the coolest thing that was in the bag was a pair of God hand snippers. So I sent Pez a message after I got back home. I just wanted to send him an email to say thank you again. And he said, upon looking at the pictures, he could see that the pair of snippers that I had was actually the lower downgraded version of the ones that Dan and Bill had been given. He said basically I got short-handed. I didn't feel like I did. I was very happy with my snippers, but he said he had a much better pair that he wanted to send me. So he sent them to my house, another pair of God hands, so I now have 2. Like, God hands are the most expensive, best, like, coolest, most elite snippers as well, so really, really cool to have them. And now I have 2 pairs, so shouts to Pez from Rubicon Models, because just them on their own were amazing. But when he sent the parcel to my house, he also put in a bunch of this stuff. Geek Gaming Scenics, turf supplies, terrain supplies, basing materials, and I can never get enough of this stuff. Also, this is really, really good quality stuff, Geek Gaming Scenics. I believe it is, or at least was, owned by Luke APS, the guy that used to have a YouTube channel, then he stopped doing it. I don't know why, but I really liked his channel. I used to watch it a lot, and at the time at least, he was the guy that owned the company that made all this stuff. It's really, really good material. It's my favorite material to base miniatures with. So what I'm going to do is when I've painted up these miniatures eventually, I will use this basing material on them, because there's a couple here that are just so fantasy. Like, check that. That one's called Tiaga Hillside, and this is called Fields of New Zealand. Both of them feel so Warhammer Fantasy. So yeah, they're gonna be perfect for when I base these little miniatures. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna glue these guys together, because I got some really good glue, some cool glue from Rubicon Models that I think will be perfect for these. At least I hope it will be. This is like really thick, gooey super glue, so I'm hoping that holds metal. But we will see. I'm gonna do it now. We will see, and I'll get back to you. Now at the start of this episode, I told you about how I wanted to show you a big toy haul that I came across recently, and the day that I found out about it was this very day, literally like a couple of minutes after I'd finished gluing these guys together, which as you can see, thanks to the glue that was gifted to us by Rubicon, worked a treat, so shouts to them for that. But what I want to do now is show you how this evening played out right after this, and how I got a phone call letting me know about the best vintage toy find that I've stumbled upon in the wild in well over a decade. So I was just inside doing what you've just seen me doing, and I got a phone call from my mum saying that my dad's found a bunch of 80s stuff in a skip, and if I want to take a look at it. So obviously I'm like, yeah, of course I want to take a look at it. If you know about me, you know that my dad works in house clearances and he does scrap recycling and all that kind of thing, and he comes across a lot of skips, and today he found a skip with some absolute gold in it. Check this, I can't even believe what he found in this thing. So what we've got here, starting from the top, we've got a Fort Kerriam in its box, and obviously all this stuff's a bit battered, but who cares, man? Who cares about a box being a bit battered when you're getting this stuff out of a skip? I've never had Fort Kerriam, seen it many times at the toy fair, but never had one myself, so I'm absolutely buzzing with this. It's got loads of stuff inside, and then there's also a bag here of bits. We've also got the box for a Sega Menacer. There's no gun inside it, unfortunately, but who cares? These days, the boxes are some of the hardest things to find with these things. We've also got the box for a Sega Mega Drive. I'm so glad that he grabbed these as well, because some people would have left the boxes, but he grabbed them, and I'm so happy that he did. He asked me, he goes, do you want the boxes? I goes, hell yeah, I do. Also got a beautiful Snake Mountain, which I don't have in my collection, so I'm buzzing to get one of these. I've had all the pieces for one of these for a long time. We've got the front and the back shell. The back shell is in the box. We've got the box for this thing. I'll show you that in a minute. These are one of the hardest things to get unbroken. It's got both of its tabs. It's also got its wire attached. Check that. all its stickers intact, and it's wire. That is like unheard of, especially finding it in a skip. So the other part to that is inside the box. Again, some scuffs and some tears and some dings on the box, but who cares, man? This thing is incredible. Check that. Got a beat up Castle Grayskull, but not bothered about that. Had hundreds of these things. Very, very easy thing to find, so I'll just strip this for parts. Loads of stuff in here for the Fort Kerrium. Loads of stuff that I've not even had a chance to look at yet. Some consoles. Check this, an old Astro Wars. Got a Grandstand Scramble here. Loads of bits and pieces. Boxed Sega Saturn games with the manuals and the discs in nice condition. Like, who's throwing this stuff out, man? Who are these crazy people? Buck Rogers game. These I really, really loved. Some card backs off old Ninja Turtles. Wacky Action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle card backs, so they're amazing. To some people, they might just be trash. Obviously, to the person that threw them in the skip, they were trash, but not to me. And then some more bits and pieces in here. The prize piece of this being the tank tracks off the Thunder Tank. These are really hard to find, not snapped. And I don't know how long these have been in a loft or a shed or whatever, but these have remained intact somehow. So they're the prize piece of this box of stuff. So yeah, just absolutely buzzing. It's been years since I came across a haul this big in any kind of skip or a charity shop or a car boot or anything. So to get it all for free is incredible. So shouts to my dad for always keeping his eyes out for cool 80s stuff, because he absolutely came through. And I'm really going to look forward to cleaning all this stuff up, restoring these boxes and getting some of them on display, because like I said, some of them I don't even have in my own collection. The Snake Mountain, the Sega Menacer, the Sega Mega Drive and the Fort Kerrium, all are things that I do not have in my collection, but I do now. So yeah, absolutely elated, as Retro Ghetto would say. Shouts to Retro Ghetto. So I've got it all inside the studio. I'm going to spend some time tomorrow and over the next few days like just cleaning it up and putting it in some kind of order. It was funny when my mum rang me. She says he's got a bunch of 80s stuff, and she said that there's a He-Man boxed thing. And she goes, oh, it's a bit wet though, do you want it? And I goes, I don't care if it's wet, I don't care if rats had chewed it, get it, I want it. And it just goes to show that if you want something and you wait long enough, eventually you will find it. There's no point paying these big prices that people want to put on stuff. Like, I've been wanting a Snake Mountain and a Fort Kerrium for over 20 years, and now I've got them and they didn't cost anything. I could have like blasted a load of money at a toy fair when I saw them there for like hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and I just never did, because I just know that if I want something, eventually I will find it at the right price. And in this case, the right price was $0, which is the best price. And they're both in great condition. I've not had a proper look at the Fort Kerrium, but the Snake Mountain, like I said, even the little catches, the hinges on the side are not snapped, the wire's intact, all the stickers are there. So that's going to be a real nice piece when I find the other pieces to it and put it all together and get it on display. So yeah, absolutely buzzing. And what a perfect thing to find while we're just doing a studio update. What a perfect thing to find and be able to look through together. I was going to get a Chinese tonight. I was thinking I might get a Chinese, I might get a takeout. I've been thinking all day I might treat myself to a takeout tonight. You don't know I'm 100% having a celebratory takeout when I go back in, because yeah, I think today deserves it, man. Now, you're probably wondering about the legitimacy of this find. Like, I've got no proof that my dad found this in a skip. My dad didn't film proof of him finding it or anything like that. A, because my dad doesn't film things. He probably doesn't even know how to film stuff on his phone, because he's just old school like that. And B, because when you see something like this, you just have to throw it in the back of the car before anybody else beats you to it. So I do understand that you're literally just taking my word for it that this was all found in the trash, but I can honestly tell you that, hand on heart, this all came from a skip on somebody's front garden that threw it all out. And although I was impressed looking at it at first glance, it wouldn't be until the next day when I came back to have a proper look through it all that I realised just how much gold was hidden away in these bags and boxes. So first thing I want to take a look at out of all of this gear is the Fort Kerrium. Like I said, I've never had one of these before. I've always wanted one, and I'm not even too sure about all the pieces that are supposed to be with it. And let's be realistic, it's probably not going to have all of the pieces. But there is some of the pieces, because I can see bags like the flag and things, so some of the stuff that might normally be missing or broken might be intact with this thing. We'll have a look, we'll have a check. And obviously, all of this stuff needs a clean. And I'm already seeing a piece that's a little bit snapped, but nothing that can't be glued back. I don't mind if we glue things back. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. That wouldn't even bother me if I'd bought it. What is this thing? Some kind of poster? Is that a Full Metal Jacket poster? What is that? Why? Why is the question? Why is there like a dead bleeding out guy on a poster? Who knows? International London. So it looks like some kind of poster that you'd get at the Museum of London or something. Why? Why is it in there? Who knows, but it's an interesting piece. I'll ask my friend Lee, he's a military historian. He got me the guns that I showed you in a previous video, the movie prop guns from V for Vendetta and stuff. He'll probably know what that is. Anyway, so it was interesting. I was asking my dad, like, did you think that you got everything out of the skip? Obviously, if this was in a skip with all of the trash and garbage in there, he couldn't, like, dive to the bottom of the skip, but he said he did his best to try and make sure that he got everything possible. I really, really love this side of the hobby. Having a bunch of stuff and jigsawing it together. And there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of pieces. I also know that a lot of people often see me, without blowing my own trumpet, as some kind of like toy expert historian. And I very much am in some things, not an expert, but I know a lot, an unnecessary amount about certain toys, but there's some that I don't know lots about. And although I know about all the action figures of Brave Star, and I've got most of them and their accessories, I've never had a Fort Carrium, as I said, so I'm not 100% sure of all of the pieces that are supposed to go with this thing. So I'm just gonna put everything in a pile that I think looks like it's part of this play set, just judging by like the color of the plastic, the design on it and things. And then any pieces that are missing, then that just gives me an excuse to be hunting them down in the future and asking my friends if they can get hold of them and that kind of thing. So I do know that it's some kind of like transforming playset, as in it's like a couple of different playsets in one. I could just look on my phone. It is 2024. We can just find everything that we ever want on the internet. Brave Star, Fort Carrium. I have to talk in a really clear accent when I talk on my phone because it doesn't understand my accent otherwise. So I'm seeing a wire that I don't have. There's supposed to be like a white wire to one of these cannons. Right. Okay. Ooh, there's a safe here. Look at that. The safe has still got some of the crystals inside it. The gems, the jewels. All the figures come with these little glowing crystal gems. And this sounds like it's got loads in. Look at them spilling out. So after taking a closer look at the Brave Star Fort Carrium and finding way more pieces than I expected to for it, I started fitting it all together, and after about half an hour it was safe to say that I was more than just a little bit impressed with how good of a condition it was in, and also how many of its original pieces were with it. So what can I say other than I'm absolutely gobsmacked? I've gone through the whole thing, and as far as I can see, it's 100% complete. I know when I was unboxing it and getting everything out, there was a few things that I was thinking, oh, it's not got them, it's not got this, it's not got that. But I was wrong. Every single piece is there. I didn't think it had this hose, and then I found this hose in one of the other boxes. This is the little thing that blows the jail cell window open, the bars on the window. You can use it on some other little pieces as well. It's got all the little jewels inside the safe. It's got even the little key that opens the jail cell. It's got everything. I kept looking on the instructions that I found and seeing pieces and thinking, oh, well, it's not going to have that, it's too small. But it had them all. Even these all lift up, the guns underneath them, because you can like transform it all and fortify it. And yeah, I can't believe it. I don't know what goes through the minds of people who think that something like this needs to be just thrown away and it's not got any value or anything. Like they've got way more money than me. So other than one little hairline crack in this piece here, which again I'm not bothered about, I said I'm not bothered about that, it's all there and it's all in great condition. So what I'm going to do is give it a good clean, give it a good scrub, because my hands were black when I was going through this thing. I had to go and wash them. But yeah, we're going to give it a nice scrub and then get it display worthy. The box needs some work. The box is like very much bent out of shape and stuff. It's had a little bit of moisture damage, but not a problem. We'll be able to fix that. But yeah, I can't tell you how gassed I am. And this is just the first thing that I've had a look at out of all of the stuff that my dad got out of this skip. So yeah, absolutely buzzing. Couldn't be happier. This is the other thing I'm very intrigued about, because as I said, I've always wanted one of these. I had one as a kid, but as an adult collector, I've never had one. Not that I don't see them around. I do see them at toy fairs and stuff. I've just never picked one up. So I'm hoping that this is in as good condition as the Brave Star Fort. I already know it's got one little thing broken on it. I know that it's got this little bit here snapped off, but I do have tons of these pieces in storage. Not to hand, but in storage. I do have lots of different pieces for these. And I know I said it before, but finding it with all these little hinges not snapped off is just, it's insane. It's incredible, I can't believe it. Whoever had these either took crazy care of them or never played with them, and that's why they got stuck in the loft and then thrown out and forgotten about. One of the two. So yeah, look. Look at all this. Little bit of snappage, but really, really cool. And like I said, I've got lots of these pieces already in storage, which I've saved for this exact kind of occasion. They fit on the outside of it. You got a Lionor sword, knockoff sword, Skeletor, and then the snake for the top of Snake Mountain, hence the name. Like when we talk about He-Man toys, I know that they're not like as rare as some stuff. They're one of the most popular 80s toys out of that entire decade. Like He-Man is up there. So you do find them, you do see them around, but it's rarer and rarer to find them in good condition. The good thing about these as well, being a toy line that you do see very often, is that any little missing pieces that I do need, I will come across them, I will see them. So what I can see first of all, just at like a first quick glance, is that one of these has snapped off and that one's a little bit broken. These kind of like railings off the bridge. And I do have some of these, I swear I do. But yeah, I'm gonna have to keep a lookout for the end railing and an extra one of them. If anybody's got one, feel free to holler me or bring one to a toy show and we'll work something out. Not that I care, I'm just happy. I'm just happy that we found it, but yeah, just to make a note, those are broke off. So those are the little bits that connect this part of the bridge to that part. I know that I don't have these little things. These little things that have snapped off here are the prisoner shackles. I don't have them, 100% don't have them, so I'm gonna need a pair of prisoner shackles at some point. And of course we've got the snake. I do have one of these as well. I do have a spare one of these snakes, so I'll be able to trade that. It could be to trade bait or give it away to someone that I know that needs one that's looked after me before in the past. So that slots in the back. I'll do that properly in a minute. But yeah, do you know what? It's funny. I often have these dreams. I was telling my friend Whitty the other day, because like I like to talk about dreams. And I often have these dreams, and if you're a toy collector, I'm sure you have them as well, where you kind of like come across something like a warehouse full of old toys, or you find a skip. I literally had one before where I was going through the street and I found a skip and it was just full of vintage toys. And this was like pretty recently, in like the last few months, and I'm trying to call my dad to come and get them. And that dream kind of came true, although it was my dad that found all the vintage toys and brought them to me. So yeah, never stop following your dreams, ever. So if you can't already tell, if it's not already obvious, I was absolutely made up with this haul. And although there was lots of good stuff in it and plenty of things to clean up and get showcase worthy, it was all about this Fort Kerrion for me personally. Closely followed by the Snake Mountain, but obviously we've got a lot of work to do on that yet and some piecing together and stuff. This, however, has now had a good clean up and is all ready to be displayed. This was also a good excuse for me to get some of my Brave Star figures out and filmed as well, which is always nice. And having the backdrop of the fort there displayed behind them just makes me like these figures even more than I did before now. As I said when I was going through this thing, it's 100% complete. I can't find anything that's missing, and the only thing on it that's broken is a slight hairline crack in the roof of the command center, which is an absolute minor, and having this now in such good condition has really made me want to complete the rest of the figures in this set. I have always picked them up here and there when I've seen them for cheap, but I still don't have a cape for my Thunder Stick, so if you've got one of them then please holler me. I also don't have the 3030 horse either, so again, if you've got one available at a decent price or whatever, then please get in touch. I might also need Fuzz and Scuzz. I'll have to check my storage boxes. I know that I don't have hats for them, and that's why they're not in my display case, because I tend to only display toys if I've got them complete or very close to it. I do also have Handlebar somewhere as well, but I couldn't for the life of me remember where I'd put him, which is annoying because recently Dave Blade gave me one of the discus disc weapons that I needed for him, so he's pretty much complete now, but unfortunately I couldn't find him in time for this video. But not to worry, he'll turn up soon enough, and it just gives me a good excuse to get all this thing out again for some updated shots when I get hold of all the other bits for the figures that I'm needing. If you did enjoy this video today, then please don't forget to give it a like, and as always, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and binge the back catalogue. I do videos every single week that are retro toy related, toy making videos, because like I said, I'm currently building my own toy making factory in my back garden. I also get to lots of different shows and conventions, toy hunting and related events and that kind of thing, so if any of that sounds like a little bit of you, then like I said, please consider subscribing to the channel, because you're more than welcome to join us on this journey here at Slimehouse TV. I'd also love to know from anybody that just watched this video what you thought of the haul that I've just had in, and also, have you got any stories like this? I find that so many toy collectors have got them stories where they came across some gold, found something awesome or rare in the most unlikely of places. Let me know down in the comments below, because I love hearing them kind of stories. I've been doing these studio updates for a good few months now, like I said, almost a year, and if you watched the last one, you'll know that I actually ran a competition to win an exclusive prototype ROM the Space Knight figure. So I completely picked these names at random, but if your name's on screen right now, then congratulations, you're the winner of one of those figures. I don't know where you all are individually in the world and that kind of thing, but if you drop me a message on Instagram, we'll work out how I can get it to you. And I also want to say a massive thank you to everybody that got involved in that competition. There were some really good suggestions, and some that I'm definitely going to consider making in the future as well. So yeah man, thank you for the inspiration. Make sure that you also stay tuned for the next studio update like this, because I've got something really cool that I've been sent that I'm again going to be giving away to you lot. And in terms of events, I've got one more this weekend, and then they kind of chill out for the rest of the year. Something that I'm really looking forward to, because I want to just be concentrating on doing stuff in here and getting on with my toy making. But the next event that I'm going to be at is the Birmingham Game Expo. I'm going to be there with BillMakingStuff and a couple of other YouTubers, so that's going to be a good laugh. Going to be salute vibes again, lots of independent wargaming miniatures and Gundam kits. So if you see me there, you want to come say a quick hello or take a picture or anything like that, then please feel free. It's always nice to meet viewers of Slimehouse TV, and it's a weekend that I'm really looking forward to. Now, if you want to help support trips like that or anything else that I've got going on here at Slimehouse TV, the best place to do that is over on Patreon at patreon.com/SlimehouseTV. All that money goes back directly into making sure I can keep this channel going and helping me build this brand and making the channel bigger and better than ever, so it's all very much appreciated. But as always, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and I hope to catch you in the next video, but until then, I'm gone. Pow!